Hi, how are you?
Have you got purple hair?
I do, yes.
Oh
It's
my
not
God,
natural.
that's super cool.
Thank you.
That really just blew my mind. That is super cool.
Oh, well, thank you. My mom does it actually.
Really?
Yeah, she's super talented.
Wow. I dyed my hair red once, and all that happened was my forehead just went pink.
Yeah, and then your shower probably looked like a murder scene.
Yeah, that is, yes, it did. Anyway, sorry, okay, I got distracted by that. Hello,
No, it's
thank you for
okay.
talking to me.
Of course. Thank you for talking to us. We're doing an Audacy check-in with Chris Martin of Coldplay. How's it been getting back into the grind of it all as the world's starting to pick up again?
I'm so happy to be, well, I love being in our band, so I'm happy to be talking to people and playing, and, we're desperate for work in a way. So, yeah.
Has there been like a particularly refreshing aspect of it to you that, maybe pre-pandemic you weren't really thinking about how special that thing is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can't help but be humbled by something like that reminds you that no matter how rich or famous or whatever you are, you're just a little person on a big rock, and you're connected to everybody, and everyone's connected to you, and the one is the good of the whole, and it's good to be reminded that you're part of this big family.
Yeah, I love that. Well, now that you and the band have been doing performances again, getting back out there, how's the energy been? Have you noticed like a giant shift since you guys kind of had to obviously take a little bit of a pause?
Well, that's a great question, Julia, but we haven't yet performed for any human people. We've only performed for like some fields and some empty.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I meant though. Like when you guys performed at the Brits.
At the Brits, do you mean like how did it feel to perform, or how did it feel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it felt great. It felt great to perform, and I love it so much. It feels a bit like playing tennis against nobody, because you're getting nothing back. But you just got to trust that, okay, well, someone might be watching this somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is doing radio. You have
I
to
guess so.
hope that like somewhere is like laughing at a joke I make and like hoping it's going over well,
Yeah, that's a really good. I guess we've just been experiencing what it's like to be a good DJ.
Well, congrats on all the much deserved success of Higher Power. You said the timing of creating that song was sort of as you guys planned it pre-pandemic. Do you feel like having the external factors going on with everything in 2020 contributed in any small way to how the song sounds, or do you feel like it would have kind of always sounded that way?
Well, that's a great question. I think that for whatever reason, the last year or so has led to us being completely unashamed of being ourselves. There's no point in trying to pretend anything. I don't know if that's to do with the pandemic or just where we are in our band life. So I know that the only response that we ultimately can have to so much negativity everywhere is to come back super positive, because that's how I pick myself up every day. So I'm sure everything we go through bleeds into the music somehow.
You said that this song started at your kitchen sink, right? Or was it your bathroom sink?
It was. I don't want to take credit for this sink because it's not my sink. It was a rental sink.
Okay.
And yes, that's true. Just was hitting us. I don't often hit sinks. I don't need to think I'm some sort of
No, I don't think you're a sink hitter.
sink abuser. But
No.
I was just this one. I was like, "Hey, that sounds good," and it led to led to us talking.
Do you feel like the sink is the strangest place that a song has started for you, or has there been weirder?
That's a really great question. Right now, it would come in number one in the weirdest ones. Although one time I was in a hotel in Australia, and sometimes in a hotel they leave music playing on the little clock radio.
Yeah.
And I came in and it was the end of this classical piece, and I never knew what it was, and I heard something wrong, and it led to another song. So that's not as fun as a sink.
So why the title Higher Power? Because I know you said you hung on to that like particular title for a while, but you were looking for the right thing.
Yes. Yeah, good question. That just felt like the right title for something. I have in my phone, which is just there, I have hundreds of unused titles.
Well, what does higher power mean to you? Like, why did that particular thing resonate with you?
I think it means I think it's two things. It's one, thinking about the bigger power in the universe and whatever you want to call that, God or whatever you believe in. And then also about the higher power that is within all of us. You know, every day is a choice between, do I want to respond to things in a slightly more elevated way, or do I want to just be all like, ah? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a reminder to me of like, okay, take the more graceful path, even though you might be angry or depressed or frustrated or whatever.
And you guys actually got to debut this song in space.
Yes.
How did that come about? Whose idea was it? How did we get there?
Yeah, that is a great question, Julia. I think that anytime someone says they think our band is okay, my best friend Phil notes it down to see like, oh, maybe we could do something with them one day. And I think this astronaut, this sweet guy called Thomas, had said something about Coldplay at some point. And so we didn't just call him up, but we basically just called him up and said, hey, might you play our song from your spaceship? And he said, yes, of course. Like that.
Was that on a bucket list for you, or were you like, you know what, this should be on a bucket list and now it's checked off?
I had a bucket list once on the wall in our little crappy apartment when we were 19 or something. And now I don't have a bucket list. I don't even have a bucket, to be quite honest with you.
I've always loved hearing what you guys do project to project because, you know, it sounds like you guys are constantly evolving, but still giving the fans the comfort of Coldplay. When you're figuring out where you want to take your music sonically, do you try to meet music kind of where it's at in that point in time? Or just what fits, you know, the theme of what you want to do? Like, say, for instance, you know, you knew you wanted to do something to do with higher power.
Right, that's a wonderful question. I think ultimately I'm always following the songs. I don't really know where they come from, the good ones. So I'm following them. And in terms of the sonics, I'm like a lot of humans. I love new things, and I'll hear something that gets me going. It's exciting, you know, whether that could be turned down for what, you know, when that song came out, I was like, how did they do that? So then I'm interested in what are those synthesizers and where are those sounds coming from? So, and then after a while of working with new sounds, then you feel hungry for the sound of just an acoustic guitar or something. So I feel that I'm very lucky in that naturally I like a lot of different kinds of music, and I'm really hungry always for something I've never heard before, at the same time as still being really into the sound of a string quartet or whatever.
Yeah.
So that whole thing blends up, and that's why we keep moving sonically. But you can always still tell it's us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Has there been any new music that's come out lately that you've heard that like you've been really into the sound of it and has inspired you in any way?
On Instagram, I saw Roddy Ricch do something with just a guy on an acoustic guitar, and it blew my mind. I was like, that guy is incredible. Often with artists that there's a lot of technology in the music, which would be a lot of hip hop artists, you can say, oh yeah, it's just a great beat. But then when you hear them like really rapping just raw, you're like, oh wow, this guy is like the bomb, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I love seeing like the freestyles and just hearing like rhythmically like how they move
I know.
their voice. It's crazy.
It's wonderful. And there's a guy in England called Stormzy. I don't know if you know Stormzy.
Yeah.
But he's a huge hip hop artist in England. And he did a video like that, just him with his friends and one little beatbox, and then it's all live. And it just was like, wow, how do you do that? And I love that.
You guys have seen such success for so long, and you're always so incredibly humble. When you see shows like American Idol doing Coldplay Night or bands like BTS covering your songs, what is the feeling now over things like that?
Well, that's really lovely of you to ask, Julia. But I love it in concept, but I can never actually watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love the fact that it's happening, but I can't watch someone do our songs. I can't even watch us do our songs. It all falls into that thing of hearing your own voice on answer phone kind of thing. I feel like, oh man, are we responsible for this guy getting voted off American Idol? You know what I mean? I can't handle it.
Yeah, and one thing I loved about seeing your guys' performance at the Brits is seeing the fans commenting how happy and at peace you looked while you're performing. Is it feeling that way for you?
Did they say that?
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. I'm trying to really live truthfully as my real self. And, you know, some days it works better than others.
Yeah.
But definitely on stage, I feel very like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Do you feel the most like in the moment and present while you're on stage?
No, I mean, it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most exhilarating. But then when a new song comes, or, you know, there's connections with people that give the same thing. But I definitely feel fully alive.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Chris Martin of Coldplay with an Audacy check-in.
Thank you, Julia. Please send my love and respect to your mum, who is clearly really talented. All right?
I will. She'll love that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye.